This
Already
conference will now be recorded.
pull up my agenda here. Wait,
Put it up.
the funeral's Friday already.
What is that?
No, Florida, Tallahassee, Florida.
Okay, what's up? Okay, right.
It's peak. Thinking about taking it too.
He should be walking through the door.
Welcome. Yeah, we were talking about you here.
See your place yesterday.
I can't tell all those cars out there. I thought it was gonna be packed in here.
I didn't
Okay, it says
eat any of it. They ate it all before I rolled. See how they?
That's right.
Right. Sorry, Chief. Call this meeting to order. Mr. Manley, please take roll.
Councilor Halverson, Councilor Marujo here, Councilor Moore,
Here,
Councilor Chapel, Councilor Arnold,
Here.
quorum.
Thank you. Okay, entertain a motion to approve the agenda and possibly the minutes. I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda and possibly the minutes.
I'll make a motion to approve, approval of the agenda for May 8th, 2024. And for the minutes further. They're not connected.
Right here.
And approval of the last, the meeting, the March 19th.
Yes.
1 second.
Okay.
All those in favor?
All right.
Opposed? Motion carried.
I know Councilor Chapel was here at 4:01.
I think,
I guess for the record, I know that.
I think you mentioned, March minutes, but you mean April, right?
April. I'm thinking it's 19th.
I think you were looking at the minutes. Yeah, okay. All right.
Second.
Arnold second.
Well, yeah, we both did, but it was simultaneously, so either way.
Take your choice.
Either way, flip a coin.
Yeah. All right, first regular item, consider approval of one-year contract extension for the American Medical Response in accordance with the current contract. Kevin, would you like?
I think it's that.
Chair, members of the committee, we're just asking for your blessing in just extending the contract. The contract allows for 1-year extensions, and so this is just part of that. So I believe Mr. Matthews can talk on this year. I believe it's already budgeted and so forth. And so this would just be to continue providing ambulance services to our citizens. Just an update, we have no complaints. AMR is doing a tremendous job. They continue to work really solid hand in hand with us there at the fire department, and they are providing a great service to our citizens. And so I have no objections to this as well, so I fully support it. So I stand for any questions that you may have.
Mr. Chair, I do have short hair, but.
Clear on that. So I do have a question as far as, I think it was last year, or we were talking about our own ambulance service. How does that mix in with this contract?
So, Madam Chair, council member, we are in the process of very much doing that. The council approved that tax increase and the funding is coming in, but you can only move so fast. So as bad as it sounds, we're hurry up and wait. That's what the process is. The ambulances have been, they have not been procured, but the company allowed us to put a placeholder agreement on it. So they're not going to sell those to anybody else. And they're supposed to be delivered by the end of this year in December. It may be stretching a little bit before that. And so as that process continues to go, we just continue to check boxes off slowly but surely. It's just a slow process.
Absolutely. I kind of figured it, Rome wasn't built in a.
Yeah, and so
I just want to make sure it makes sense with extending.
yes, most of the ambulances, it could be anywhere between 3 and 5 year build out process on one unit. And so we were able to find some really good solid units that were stock units. And so they're all identical. So those are the ones we chose. Again, they're just not done. And so we're just hurry up and wait.
Okay,
Hurry up and wait. So
then the year makes sense. That's all
yeah,
I'm.
1 year does make sense for that.
We expect to need any more from like Carlsbad or anything?
So Carlsbad is looking to donate us one more. They just took delivery of a really nice unit down there. They have not put it in service yet, so we have not received but working with Chief Souza, the EMS chief there, and then the fire chief there, our name is written on the spare unit that they're going to send us. They just have not placed their brand new one in service yet and make sure all the equipment's on it. And then they like to have the pretty ambulance at the show, so they've sent it to a couple of road shows to make sure everyone gets to see their beautiful Dodge Viper blue ambulances. And we'll be taking hold of a used, I believe the one that we've talked about is a 2012 model that's on a Dodge chassis. It's been ran pretty hard, but for what we use them for right now as a backup unit, they work great for the city of Roswell for that. So we're just waiting for that.
Any more questions, Ruth? Well, thank you for all your work you do on that.
Certainly. Pleasure.
Okay. Okay, so I'll entertain a motion.
And Madam Chair, if we could send this to legal, since it's extending the legal document contract, that would be my recommendations.
Good one.
Make a motion.
So, Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion to consider for approval of a one-year contract extension for American Medical Response in accordance to the current contract to be sent to legal.
Second.
Okay, any more discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Okay, next item on the agenda is resolution 2486, the condemnation. Mr. Franco.
Madam Chair, committee members, staff, I have 5 properties for resolution this month. Of these 5, 3 are just changing ownerships on them. The first one is one of those, it's 107 West Matthews. This person bought the property, has significant fire damage, both the primary residence in the back, it's got a detached garage and that burned also, so they're gonna start working on that, bring it back up to code. The second one is 316 South Beach. That property also burned on the side of the house. The property owners came into the office, pulled the permit already, and secured the property so nobody would get in, so they could start working on it also. 315 East 7th Street, these are just the rear structures of the property, they're burned. This property owner has not come into the office and is in court with our department for having dirty yard and it's just a big mess over there. And then the fourth one, 113 South M Street, this one is a new owner also, and he has pulled the permit and he is working on this property, bringing it back up to code. And the last one is 113 South Elm and a half. This one is also a new owner and no contact has been made with this person yet, as of yet.
The same owners, 130?
No, they're 2 different owners.
Are these people just changing owners so you can't condemn it or tear it down on that day? Is it just changing ownership for that reason or second, I guess?
Well, Counselor, when we condemn our property and it's a new owner, we have to condemn it under their name, so it'll be the same process.
Okay, I'm asking, do you think that they're doing that to avoid the condemnation process?
No, these are actually new owners and they're looking to, these properties were sold on the tax lien sale. And they're the new owners of the properties now. So they're looking to fix them up, bring them back into compliance.
Sorry, I should have asked to speak. I'm sorry.
No, you're
That's
fine.
my bad. Mike said I could go, so.
Please blame him next year.
Go ahead.
Madam, so on this 113 South Elm, is this the one that's across the street from Sally Estrada?
Yes.
So we have new people,
The
okay.
green one that we were talking about, that one, he pulled a permit on it and he's working on it.
Okay, that's actually good news.
Mhm.
I guess I'll learn more about that this week. That way we can get with Ms. Estrada and kind of update her. Thank you very much.
No questions from the committee? The public? Okay, I entertain a motion.
Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion for approval of Resolution 24XX condemnations. The resolution shall, to allow for the removal of demolition of 5 dilapidated structures to go on the consent agenda.
Second.
Any more discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, everyone.
Somebody, she got her hand up.
Oh,
It's for legal as well. Oh, it does?
Does it?
we haven't never sent.
We haven't seen that.
Yeah, we did last month
Oh,
too.
we did last month too?
Yeah, that was.
And the reason we did was because if we have to foreclose on that property, if we demo it, then we're taking legal action against that property owner.
Okay, I'm fine with it then.
But we did recommend to them that it be placed on the consent agenda was the recommendation coming out.
So I'll to, instead of consent agenda, to go to legal.
The recommendation that goes on the consent agenda.
Yeah.
That's what we did last.
Okay, so with the recommendation that it goes on the consent agenda. Thank you.
Okay. So do I need to take a vote again?
We actually need to do a second.
Another second?
Second.
Well, we made a change.
Yeah,
Oh.
the second as amended.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carries. Thank you.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I would actually like, again, to put on the record that we need to relook at that, every item going to the legal, because then it's kind of pointless for us to meet.
Oh, for legal to meet?
Well, no, if we're going to have every single item has to be referred to legal, then what's the point of this committee?
Right, that's right.
Very good.
Yeah, I just wanted that to go on the record.
Everything-
It's not making any sense.
Yeah.
So we need to figure out a solution for that, at least.
Everything has a legal ramification. If you think about it, everything has a legal ramification. And if this is something we do every single month,
It
it
is.
seems like we shouldn't have to send it to legal every single.
Right. And that's the way the new admin code is written, and that is something we need to revisit and possibly come up with its merit and the way the admin code is rewritten. However, you actually have to try it out to realize where the holes are. I think this is a hole because it's kind of proving,
It's repetitive.
right, it's
Yeah.
proving that why, if legal people can't.
Okay. Next item is consider approval award recommendation for RFP.
Yep, that's me. Good afternoon, Madam Chair and councilors. For your approval is the award recommendation for RFP 24010. To shorten up that language, it's called a THIRA and an SPR. And for the city manager to enter into a contract with Jensen and Hughes. A little bit of background, we posted this RFP in March. We received 5 proposals April 23rd. The evaluation committee completed their review, and it was their recommendation to qualify and award this contract to Jensen and Hughes. Funding for this project is already in my current FY24 budget for emergency management, and Chaves County does reimburse 50% of that, and they are aware of this document. The contract will be reviewed by legal, and so it's my request that you send this to legal on May 23rd since it has a contractual status. So sorry, I know we just talked about that, but sorry. I actually put it on legal's agenda, assuming because their agenda deadline was yesterday.
Oh.
Right. So we weren't going to vote by today. So it's already on legal's agenda. But if you decide not to, I can take it off.
So when you do these,
RFPs?
yeah, it's not just the cost. There's several factors that go into the
Sure.
decision, right?
Yes. Oh, yes. Cost is the last thing you get to see. So everything has a point value. So this was divided into 5 categories with, and you don't get to see the cost till you've evaluated the other 4 categories.
Any questions from the committee? Any from the public? Okay, I'll entertain a motion to go to legal.
Make a motion for approval. To consider approval for award recommendation for RFP 24-010, the threat and hazard identification and risk assessment and stakeholder preparedness review. For the city manager enter into contract with Jensen Hughes for that. We send this to legal. We're serious with it.
Yeah, and then to full council on.
And then to full council on consent.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carries. Thank you. All right, next we have the ordinance. Did everyone get my email? So since Tess can't be here today, I didn't want to go into detail on the changes for the animal ordinance because I'm sure we need him here for questions on that, but if everyone did get the email, if you didn't get it, let me know, but I'd like to review it.
And see, I don't have one.
Oh, okay. So, if you guys can review it. It's in.
No, she said something that I.
Yeah.
Email.
Yeah, I did send it by email, but
Okay.
it's also in your packet. If you can just review it and see if you have any recommended changes or anything.
There, thanks to the help of Della, we were able to get the red line version placed in your packet so that you can at least better tell. We had some issues with the agenda quick, but Della got it figured out.
Thank you.
And so we'll get the red line version in there for you
Oh, maybe.
with some notes and things on there. So if you want to review that between now and our next meeting, Hess will be back for that and he can put the many of the things to be.
Okay. Sorry for that. Monthly department reports, community development.
On number 5, may I please?
Are you what?
I wanted to say something.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
So one of the things I've been thinking about is, because I've seen you work on this probably for, almost 2 years now.
We're in trouble, yeah.
Yeah, so I've been thinking about kind of what you were saying, and as far as we have to get a little bit more strict on how, holding people accountable. And at first, it's, we all kind of seem apprehensive because we think that might be something that will keep people from being, interacting, or generally, if you have a fine that large, people can't pay it. So we've all kind of been a little reluctant to do that. But I've actually been thinking about the concept of there again, you have to actually implement something, try it, and then reassess it. Because we don't know that it won't work, but we also don't know that it will, but we almost don't know unless we try something.
Yeah, because what we know isn't working.
That's exactly my point. Sometimes we actually have to adjust things and try new things and be willing to do that and see, and then assess if it's effective. So I just kind of wanted to let you know that I did think about your logic. And while previously I've always kind of been a little nervous about it, I actually just wanted to let you know that I think at this point it might be considered. So that's all I had to say. Thank you.
Okay. Development.
From the code enforcement department, we got, the guys that's addressing complaints, running calls, doing routines in areas, trying to clean up the town a little bit. Business license still going, they come in, she's letting them out. I think she's getting ready. I believe she's getting ready to let out another batch. I'm not for certain on that though. That's about it. Business as usual over there.
They busy. Got a lot of weeds still?
Well, they're not coming out as bad, but we're trying to take care of what we got. Waiting for the next rainstorm.
Yeah.
I know you requested.
Does everybody wash their cars?
I've sent that out and asked people one time to wash. Didn't help.
Synergy.
Question.
Yes.
I don't know if it would be for code enforcement, but I want to know all the food trucks that are around? They're just popping up everywhere. Who does that license?
So there's 2 different licenses there. So they'll have an environmental license for the food service.
That the city does?
No, that the state does, the state
Okay.
environment department. And correct me, Toby, if I get any of this wrong. And then they will have a business license through the code enforcement department.
It shows that they can just park anywhere.
Well, then
wherever.
they have permission from, or supposed to, correct me. so-
They're supposed to have permission where they get a business license from. They say, for instance, like that gentleman at the Old Church's Chicken, he has a permission. He has permission from the property owner to be there, and he has a permit for that place.
So before they'll issue that, because they're temporary 30-day
Yes.
permits, they'll come in with a permission letter from the owner of the property saying it's permission to be there. It's on a paved surface, they meets all the requirements, then they'll issue that permit for 30 days. The next 30 days, they move to a different location, they get another letter from that property owner saying they can be there on that property.
Does the fire department? Do they
There's a lot.
inspect them too?
I don't That's a great question. And honestly, I can't tell you the true answer to that. I
They have
think if there's
events,
suppression
yes.
systems,
For events, okay.
events and suppression systems, if they are with that, which I'm pretty sure they have to have them in there, then our guys are involved.
Yeah.
With the hood, the vents and the suppression system.
Typically, before they're issued the business
They
license,
have to prove that.
that information is passed on to the fire marshal. He now has an office and a secretary there at the code enforcement department. So we wasn't losing that information. We have somebody there and it's transferred to him, an appointment set up for him to do the trailer inspections.
Well, so if you're not short, for instance, because there's just some in some weird places, so don't go up and you can't, what if you're not sure? What if you're uncomfortable about like,
Call code enforcement. They can tell you every business that has a business license, every food truck that has a license, temporary or permanent license.
they're just popping up everywhere.
Call Mr. Franco.
Everywhere.
He can find out.
Everywhere.
Good to know. because
Everybody
I
in
was
the know.
Watching a like a bicyclist go down the sidewalk, but it was motorized, and I'm like sitting there knowing that wasn't supposed to be. I'm like, the like, oh.
That's a cheap pavement question.
Get his tag number, cycle tag number.
Things. I'm never like, by the time I see it, it's all over with. But I do want to thank you for that. I just got a business idea off that question. So thank you.
Emergency management.
Just business as usual. We did get the contract signed for the EOP, so I have a meeting with that company on Friday. We're doing some training with transit on emergency stuff next week. On Wednesday, working on a grant that's 100% match. So there's no cost for the city, just it's reimbursement based. And then that's about it, just business.
More of those.
Yeah, those are the good ones. This is the one everybody applies for because it's a good one.
Okay, thank you. Dispatch, is she here?
That's me.
He's number 3 today.
That's number 3. Best is out of town on business and our number 2 had a family emergency, couldn't be here. I know from our staff meeting on Monday or Tuesday, I believe she's 3
Six short.
big short dispatchers. They're working with Job Corps and has really had a successful mentorship with Job Corps and some of their students that are graduating that program. They're really excited about it. I think they've had 3 students and one of them kind of washed out. The other 2 are really doing well and have requested to take the typing test and the entry level test once they graduate Job Corps. So she may have found a little niche there, potential source of employees in the future. So she's working that really hard. Other than that, that's what I remember from.
Do you know if she has new applications coming in?
They have applications coming in all the time, but they require, I think she said 35 words per minute on the test. And in today's society, people can type real fast with their thumbs. They don't do real well with their fingers.
Can you imagine call 911? Wait a minute. Let me type this.
You're doing it with- So
I got voice ones now.
Really?
But they use
It's just your.
AI.
That EDP.
Animal Services Remote, thanks for being here.
Yes. Good afternoon, Madam Chair. I apologize for not having the detailed monthly report. We're currently working on that now, but as soon as it's finalized, we will send that out to the city council. A few highlights from last month was we had an increase in adoptions. We had 66 adoptions for the month. Last year was 30, so a nice increase in adoptions. We had an increase in animals being transferred out to rescue partners with FORA. We sent out 80 last month, and we ended the month with an 81% save rate, which was pretty good. I believe last year was 73%, I believe, but it will be included in the monthly report once you get it. Currently, what we're dealing with is a potential distemper case at the shelter. So we're currently right now sending out PCR to a reference lab. to get
Animal was
confirmation.
brought in.
Animal brought in.
Yeah.
So the litter of puppies came in on Monday afternoon and presented with clinical signs of distemper. So right now we're just doing diagnostic PCR testing to confirm it.
Quarantine. Okay. Well, thank you. Hopefully we don't have it out.
Hopefully not, hopefully not.
Right, police.
Madam Chair, councilors, go back to like last week, I got with Karen, we're gonna put in for the Shispec grant for the real-time crime center. So we're working on that right now. Do a narrative, so I'll meet with her pretty soon before the deadline. We're hoping to get some money to continue that process going and expand outwards. Last Friday, we were requested by the FBI to send assets to Clovis. We sent 2 K9s, tracking capabilities on that Amber Alert, and 4 other officers to assist up there. We actually went and met with the FBI today. They were real appreciative of our support for them. Of course, it ended up good. They located the child in Texas, so I'm glad we could assist Clovis with that. I would expect the same thing from them if we had an incident like that. This weekend, if y'all haven't heard, we had a major flood at the police department, pipe bust. It's going to be a long, drawn-out process. It's going to run into, I'm no contractor, but probably hundreds of thousands of dollars by the time it's said and done. Possible mold everywhere. We still got fans running throughout the building. With about 2 inches of water on the floor, on the first floor. Second floor sustained damage. So we've got it taken care of right now on that part. But like I said, it's going to be a long, drawn-out process. There also could be, now that we got a lot of stuff torn up when they come to inspect it, could be asbestos problems. That building was built in the 50s. So it may cause a lot of issues before it's all said and done. Right now, our air conditioner's down. We're getting that. We've had different companies come in. I think tomorrow ACS is coming in, who put it in originally. We've had problems with them. Last summer, we were without air conditioning all summer long. I'm going to make sure we don't have it this year. It's pretty miserable. So if we have to take legal action, I'll get with heads if they can't figure it out. I'm going to be talking to finance and legal. Talked to the mayor this morning about starting the process from the ground up to, in the next couple of years, get the voters to put a new public safety complex. If that's building that's falling apart, it's ridiculous that our personnel have to sit in there on a day in, day out basis. I can get up and leave at any time. Our staff, records, all that, they can't. There's stuff there. And I just think it's ridiculous that, not blaming anybody, that it's gotten to this point. So I'm gonna meet with them, start the process. It may not be in my time here as chief, but I'd like to get it going to where I think the last mayor and stuff, I don't think they have their stuff together when they put it to the public for a vote. They said, we want an open checkbook pretty much. They didn't have a design put out, stuff like that. I want to make sure the process is correct. Looking at property, just talking about it, I think a good spot would be out by Cielo Grande. A lot of city land there, access to every point in the city. You got to get to the base, you hit the relief route, College, Sycamore, going north-south. So I think that's, some people may argue it's not in the middle of the city. To me, that's a prime location right there and our people are going to be responding from the office. I've already heard some people say, well, about response time, they're still out in their sectors of the city where they're patrolling, so it won't affect response time. But I think it's something I hope the councilors here will get on board with to start this process, because it's way outdated. It's not built to be a police station. It wasn't. The parking, we've outgrown it. I talked with the Attorney General's office this morning. We're probably going to be getting that NIBIN machine, which will basically a DNA machine for firearms, track those. But we'll be the only one in southeast New Mexico. So basically, we'll be handling Hobbs, Clovis, Carlsbad, Eddy County, Lee County. They'll bring all their stuff to run ballistics through it and match. So it's state of the art. I think it'll help in especially gun crimes. But we have to have a place to house that stuff. And, I just don't think in our current facility in the long run, also with the real-time crime center, and there we're expanding, we need a bigger facility. The parking there, y'all have been there. You can't hardly park there. So that's my goal, is to get this started. So I would appreciate any support from the city council. I'd stand for any questions on anything else.
Yeah, I'm behind you 100% because I think the last plan would have worked had they actually had a plan. Because I know the public's behind you 100%. And I've already had people reach out to me this week. They were talking about starting a petition in a new facility for the police. Because it was in a bad shape when John was an officer. And I know it's just gone downhill. You haven't had, like you said, the air conditioning, the flooding. You can't have all this super expensive technical equipment in a building that's falling apart.
No, and day one, when I got there as chief, we're in the building last summer, going up to the detectives on the second floor. They all had tennis rackets. So I'm asking, y'all
You have a bet.
play a lot of tennis? They're like, no, it's for the bats that fly out of the ceiling. They used them to kill the bats. And that's pretty
It's only
bad.
there.
There's probably, all they did was put a board over the hole. And so there's probably a bunch of dead bats up there.
So you got rabies, asbestos, and mold.
But then, yeah, it's just, facility that basically needs to be bulldozed, but like I said, I know that process, takes years, but I'd like to get it started. That way, whoever takes my spot after I'm gone will have something to move forward on. I don't want to leave a bag of crap laying around for somebody else to clean up.
Well, I'm here to help, whatever you need. It's me.
Yeah, you still have about 10 years left, don't you?
Yeah, I got about 10 months from you. No, 10 days.
It's less.
I got some left, but it isn't gonna be 5 years or 10 years. I came in to try to, my goal, like I told a lot of y'all when I started, was to do a couple years here, make this department, leave it better than when I got there. I came into a great department, a lot better than I had known from the outside. I don't think people realize that. So it was in good shape. I hope to leave it better by my goals of getting the fleet updated, which we've done a great job. I haven't, my staff has, because it started before I got there. I want to start that process on the building, the real-time crime center, and retention. So I think, some of the goals I haven't reached yet, I won't leave until we try to reach those goals, but it won't be 10 years or 5 years.
So first off, I actually want to say I'm so glad that you said that, because I think that if we had proactive measures in solving a lot of these issues like infrastructure and new pipes and those type of things, and replacing a building, which I'm actually a big proponent of as well, we could actually figure out how to, then we would have an idea of what we need to accomplish. It kind of gets stagnant because we actually don't have an idea of what the goal is or what the vision is, how much it costs. It's just an assumption that we can't do it. So I love that you are being proactive. Anything I can do to support, right there, anything. And then second, I had two other questions. So on that real-time center, been a big fan of that one as well. Would that be located out there? Where are we looking at putting the real-time?
Could be, if we went to a new building, that would be included in that building. I want to be centrally housed up in the police department in another area of town. So yeah, when we do the plans for that, it would include the area for the NIDA machine, crime scene, all that kind of stuff, detectives, everything in that building, including the real-time crime center, which would benefit that area right by the aquatic center. And, we have, I don't know how many tens of thousands of people go to Cielo Grande Park for soccer tournaments and such. So having a police department over there would be great. And I think city owns so much land that's not used right there. You could start out with a police department years down the line at a small fire station over there. In a couple of years, that thing needs updated and grown. So you could just expand a lot of the city buildings are outdated. So you could just start, and that use of that land has been, there's nothing there for years.
It's actually an interesting approach, right? Kind of creating a separate administrative annex or something there. That's actually something that could be looked at. I will say that Cielo Grande is one, when we started talking about that crime center, Cielo Grande is one of those areas that I felt really needed to be watched, because you can see, I walk it every morning, and you can see in the divots that people are out there just doing, donuts, and they're tearing up the actual, our asphalt, dirt, and it needed to be watched. So that was one of the areas I was hoping would be. And of course, I always mention the convention center because we know they're doing donuts out there. But yes, well, thank you. Oh, last question. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Did
On
you
that
have,
note too, about the driving out there in Convention Center, we've been doing overtime projects. We've made handful of arrests, and towed vehicles. And, you know, I found out today from one of the offices, which is not what it used to be in the past with our municipal court enforcing stuff. They've actually been sentencing those people to 5 days in jail.
Yeah.
So if we're arresting them for reckless driving at the Civic Center, he's actually been sentencing them first offense 5 days in jail. So
That's huge.
that is huge to get them to stop. So they're still doing it. We're still getting complaints, but we're hitting it pretty good. Mike Matthews told me today they got the signs up after 11 o'clock. We'll just remove them from the property. Of course, we're also getting hit out of, you know, Cielo Grande, the old airport. They're doing donuts out there. So our officers working the overtime have been jumping back and forth to both locations. I got with state police this week, and we're going to do an operation between both of us. They're all for it to do a traffic enforcement one, kind of like we did the criminal enforcement one a couple weeks ago. So we'll be setting that up
next?
probably right after the school year ends, because that will be everybody out of school, and so we'll do some kind of enforcement action between both agencies.
So my last question is regarding that new machine for the DNA for the firearms. Do you guys have plans of contracting with other communities to utilize that service?
No, it won't be a contract, it'll kind of be an MOU, so they'll get trained also. When I talked to Senator Heinrich's office last August and ATF, I met with them, and then talking to AG today, I'm seeing if they have any funding for personnel also. They still don't have an answer on that once they get the total price of the machines, but it'll come with the install, which is about $30,000. I don't know how much it is. For 4 machines in the state, it was $1.5 million grant. So that's something to where if Hobbs brings up casings or whatever from a firearm, they'll be trained in it also. They may have 1 or 2 detectives that will bring it up, and we don't have to sit there and technically do all their work for them.
Okay.
They'll be trained eventually to where they can come up. We'll have to grant them access. It'll be, even within our own department, it'll be limited access to only certain people. So it'll be a secure room.
So it's more like a regional, a regional thing that they're putting here so that we can serve the region, which of course, a lot of the things that we're looking as far as the behavioral health subcommittee, a lot of it has to be regional. That's, so I didn't know if there's an opportunity to create funding or kind of what the concept behind it is. But for instance, if we actually talked about like a long-term facility for mental health, I keep trying to explain to Santa Fe and Albuquerque, this is rural. We don't need a facility here and in every community because, the numbers don't match what you have in Albuquerque. So to me, regional makes sense. So I was just trying to see if it would provide funding.
It will for the install and the equipment, and I assume we can probably put in for other grant funding to go along with that.
That's
and
very good.
off it. But initially, yeah, we won't be charging other agencies. And it's a win-win. We're the largest agency personnel-wise in Southeast New Mexico. Roswell, of course, has the most crime. So it made sense when the federal government, when they did the grant and got the money for it, they picked 4 cities that has to go in. It was Las Cruces, Roswell, Gallup, and I can't remember the 4th one, Farmington maybe. But right now, everyone in the state has to take their evidence to Albuquerque to get it entered. I'm not even sure if Santa Fe has it, but I know Albuquerque has a machine. But it'll benefit Southeast New Mexico, and kind of like I said, a DNA machine for firearms. When you enter the casing, it may match in the database a shooting that happened in Albuquerque. A lot of times, that's how a crime can get solved. It's like DNA or fingerprints and stuff. So I think it'll be very valuable, and I was pushing for it from the start to make sure Roswell Police Department used it.
Very good. Thank you. That's wonderful.
Yes, ma'am.
With the flooding and stuff now, is that gonna make a bad situation for the machine we just talking about? What are you gonna do with it now if you're stuck trying to?
We'll still have office space for it by then. We're still months out.
Okay.
So we'll have some of that stuff.
Something situated, okay.
Operations are continuing. Deputy Chief Taylor and Aldana, we went to look at offices. They may have to move temporarily to the annex next door. Their offices took the brunt of it, especially Deputy Chief Taylor's. It came right down into his office. So I don't think it'll be an issue to get that knifing machine and get it set.
Did we lose any like computer equipment or anything?
Yeah.
I'm sorry?
Or we lost computer equipment and stuff?
We did. Well, yeah, on insurance purposes, I know that there was damage. My office was the brunt, the majority pretty much dilapidated.
I hope you didn't lose anything personal.
Yeah, my golf clubs, my,
You learn real quick, you try and make your office as comfortable as you can, so you put personal things in there, and then something like this happens, and you're trying to dry out photos of grandchildren and stuff like that, so it kind of bothers you to that.
Yeah.
But we are gonna lose, probably multiple desks, because the desks that we have are all put together, particle board style desks. Mine's already started.
You see particle board, it's.
Yeah, you don't say no more.
Chairs. There's gonna be quite a few things that are gonna have to be replaced. Our biggest concern at the moment is the damage. I mean, we still have fans in there. We're still trying to dry out the cement slab before they can even attempt to try and repair the floor.
Yeah.
They're concerned about the sheetrock because there was 2 to 3 inches in some places of water, and so how much sheetrock absorbed and do mold abatement or anything like that. All that stuff. And just like the chief had stated, we've had 4 leaks in the last month. Not counting the ones in the month prior to that, but we've had 4 fairly substantial leaks, and this, of course, is the worst. And in an older building like that, every time you repair one leak, all it does is create pressure on the next level down. That it's,
So you may have a leak now that you don't even know about.
well,
Bite your tongue.
yeah, I mean, it's just a domino effect when you have an older building. But it's inevitable that this isn't by any means the first or the last time this is created.
So how soon are you guys going to start talking about the concept of what is your first step in creating, pre-planning for a new building?
first, I think you gotta find a piece of land, and then we gotta get it legal. I know the bonds that the city carries, there's a certain limit, so we're pretty high on that. We just gotta look at all options, I think, talking to legal and finance, pick their brains. Like I said, my first thought of the property the city owns so much is by Cielo Grande.
That makes sense, yeah.
No, no, thank you very much. A time frame? Do you have when you want to, are you going to start next week?
I want to start having meetings maybe as soon as we got city council tomorrow night. I want to bring it up. I'd like to invite many counselors to come by and look at our office.
Yeah.
Come by and we can walk you through it and see what the issues are. And I think you'll get a lot better perspective looking at it right now in person. So I invite you all to come down tomorrow or Friday or early next week and do it yourself. I think that would be a good thing to see. And, I'll bring it up tomorrow night also. I'd like to, sit down and see what property we have. And then, I think the first thing where they jumped the gun, they didn't have a plan. Like, I know an architect costs a ton. I dealt with that redoing our state police office like a couple of years ago, and retired Chief Johnson from state police is here, and he can attest that he dealt with a lot more buildings than me. And so you've got to follow that process. If you just go in with, I want this much money and I want to build an office, it's not going to happen. So we've got to start from the bottom up and come up with a design, or the voters are never going to approve anything like that.
And we could probably work with Miss Elizabeth. I can't remember, Pritchard? No, okay. Tomato on that one. We can look at possibly grants out there to even help with the pre-planning stages and the different stages, and look at other possible capital outlay. There's so many steps that we can actually have funded that we are afraid of, but there's a whole lot of opportunity, tons of.
At least a grant
Yeah.
to do the pre-planning, so we know
Yeah.
the cost. So if we
Yeah.
do try to do a bond, we have everything.
Yeah, for the architect,
And I don't know, we have Deputy Chief Taylor brought it up earlier, which is a good idea, because, I know how architects are expensive and getting that stuff done, and engineers. But I mean, we have city engineers, so I'll ask them to see what help they can be in the process of at least getting a plan together. I know they probably can't do the whole design or even start it, but they might have better advice on where we start with this.
Absolutely, because the gateways on Main Street, that was funded by, and it was the Mr. Nahara who helped us find that. Actually, no, it was the COG that helped us find that a grant for funding just the design. And so, and that was Bohannon Houston, who they worked, in tandem with Mr. Nahara in creating design and all that stuff. So that's what I'm saying. Let's not stress our back because we think we can't afford it, because right now those opportunities are out there. People just need to take them. So it's very, and also I'll say, if you have time at 9:45 on Friday, I'd love to come see what you guys have. Okay.
I might join you then.
Sure.
Okay, just send me an email.
We do a coffee too.
I just want to tell you, Chief, you made me look good because I had a constituent call me complaining about everyone running the yellows and reds. And he said, we need cameras on all the poles. And I said, we're already working on that.
Years in it. Some of the things in the traffic study, I don't know what, I know it got shut down from what I heard. There was also a smaller part, well, you were on it.
Yeah.
That
The timing.
the cheaper way, that changes the timing.
Yeah.
Right now, from yellow or from green to red was like 3 seconds, and nationally and stuff, it's supposed to be like 6.
Yeah.
So we actually do have quick lights. So that was some of the stuff they could do at no cost. I don't know how that's pushed forward.
He was just happy to hear we're actually being proactive and trying to do, yes.
So there are small changes we can make. We just have to get with engineering, and I think it's flip of a switch. We can.
Yeah.
That
Change it, yeah.
Yeah, we see it every day.
I think he said we're at 3 seconds, and I don't remember what the national average is.
Yeah, it was like 6. It's like half the time. So it's something they can just switch it pretty easy.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
One question, going back to your building flooding, and we're looking at building a new building. Is there a minimum we can fix up your place and, kind of put the money that we save going into a new building, or is that not?
We're gonna, it's gonna be years process to build something like that. So we have to get it in shape we gotta have it livable right now. A lot of that will be covered. We've already done the insurance claim. That's gonna be 60, 90 days out before we see something like that. But we're gonna start the process. I've already talked to City Manager Cole, and he was supportive. We'll do what we have to do to get it operational, and we are operational right now. We were down for 2 days. Our personnel did a lot of the work hands-on. So did still are. Yeah, still are. City maintenance. So they were awesome. They were awesome. They came in and did an unbelievable job. So I can't say enough about all our personnel over there that took their time to help out. And of course, the other employees of the city came down, and they were there for all day long, moving stuff, tearing up carpet, doing everything they needed to do. So it was pretty good to see that. But it's going to be a long process. We're back operational, records running again. Like I said, we're going to have some issues, and I'm worried about when they come do some of the mold issues. How much wall are they going to have to tear out? Sheetrock, asbestos. And if they run into asbestos, that's another issue. So it's
well, and I think that is one thing that has always, for me, has always been overlooked, and it has always been an oversight, is we can't afford a new building, but yet we're putting tens of thousands of dollars every time we turn around into this building.
And that's what I was hoping.
Multiply that over 5, 6, 7 years, you buy the new building.
Yeah, absolutely.
Exactly.
And so I'm like, well, I don't understand the concept that we can't afford. We could keep on affording to put money into a money pit that is literally 100% a money pit that you're never going to get your.
Throwing good money after bad.
Well, and that's why I say, I think if we start adapting to the mindset of proactive instead of reactive, then I think there's a whole lot that we can actually accomplish across the board. So that's why I was very excited to hear that you're going to take it, just like you did with the crime center, because in the beginning, you mentioned that consistently. So I love that you're taking the proactive approach and you're getting stuff accomplished by being proactive. So it's awesome.
And I think the building, just like the cars, when we went and argued for more cars last year and talked to Senator Nygert and them at those meetings, if you look back in the past couple of years, just repair, how much we spent repairing cars. They're always in the second half of this last year, if you look at how much we spent, it went way down. Because we have a lot more cars, and this year we're actually gonna add more new cars. So, you know, that stuff that we were just spending on the budget to keep those cars running, that bill's gonna be cut just like a building bill. Just the air conditioning last year was, we spent what, $130,000 or something on.
On controls, we had to buy a new air conditioner, up to $20,000. They've been working on the other 3 air conditioners for the last week and a half. They think they might have them functional, but no guarantee to how long they'll last.
Thanks, guys.
Madam Chair, if I could real quick, the chief mentioned him, but I'd like to introduce Mr. Tim Johnson. I got to meet him this afternoon. Mr. Johnson retired, as the chief said, retired state police chief. And now with the New Mexico Municipal League.
Self-insurance fund, yes, sir.
Self-insurance fund. And so we got to meet this afternoon, and I got to meet him for the first time. That is a pleasure to have you here, and give you my card, and
Welcome.
a great resource for us if we need him. And us likewise, if you need us, we're available too. So we appreciate you being there. And you get to see your.
I could have done without that.
I was trying to find a kind word to say.
He's a Roswell native, raised up here.
Are you out of Roswell or are you out of Albuquerque? Did you come down to visit with?
No, I was born and raised here, and then my first duty station was Santa Fe, and I never came back. My father passed away, so I didn't have any family left here. But my son's coming back and need me to play baseball in August, so I'm spending some more time
Yeah.
back in the country. Yeah.
There you go.
Nice having you.
Thank you. All right, fire department.
It was a busy month for the fire department. We've ran an uptick in calls from what we normally do, but our training hours are up again. And so very busy, most notably the G Street fire that took place at the airfield just a couple weeks ago. Our guys are doing a great job, but they're pretty taxed. We're still short 14 driver positions. The fire department only has 30 driver's positions, so we're almost half of that. And rumor on the street is that we're going to lose one more here pretty quick. So we're staffing half our drivers, so our drivers are being forced to stay for a lot of hours. So we're currently short staffed, staffing wise total. We're short eight personnel total. We're heavy on the fireman position, and so our big vacancies are in that driver slot. So we're really working hard to try and get some of those drivers slots filled. We got a big group that'll be eligible to test for promotion come August, but time will tell if they want to do that by then. So no one really knows, but it's not going to stop us from giving it a go. EMS calls, uptick in traffic accidents. People are just out driving around. Falls tend to be a little bit more prevalent this time of year. Just because the weather's nice and people want to get out, and of course breathing problems are really high because the pollen's high, so none of that's to be surprised. And on the fire side, the calls are just about normal, nothing crazy. The outlier there was the G Street fire, which was 87-ish thousand square foot building, and we burnt 43,000 of it to the ground. We just couldn't. There's just no way to stop that. So
And magnesium too, right?
do what?
Had magnesium.
Oh, we had magnesium and aluminum and other flammable metals and oils and anything else known to mankind was in there. And just talking, they just burn with such intensity. There's metal pieces of airplane that are just gone. So there's whatever didn't burn just fell to the ground. You're like, what is that? Well, it was a part, and everything else that was attached is just completely gone. So we have drafted a letter to be presented. The mayor's going to do that tomorrow night at council to the volunteer agencies. We had a huge turnout from the volunteer agencies, so we called an all-county dispatch, and we had a big response from them. And so we're super thankful for that relationship and just the hand that they played in it. Our guys really took a beating, and we're pretty exhausted after that, but it seemed to rebound pretty well. So
They live for those kind of things. So
The volunteers, yeah, well, our guys, yeah, it always improves morale. You pull a big fire, but we really thought that was going to be a 12-hour debacle on our end. That, hey, I think they hit the tones at 7:40 in the evening, and I really thought that I'd be lucky to be home by 8 o'clock the next morning. Our guys are so good at what they do. My head hit the pillow at 3:30, and so it blew me away to see what the Roswell Fire Department is capable of, and I cannot speak highly enough. I cannot sing their accolades enough of what they are capable and the hard work that they put in. They did a tremendous job, and it was evident no fire trucks burnt and no people were injured, and yet we were able to put out a fire that this town probably hasn't seen in 3 decades, and yet alone southeastern New Mexico hasn't seen in 3 decades. So it was quite intense. So with that, is there any questions?
What's the furthest you have come that came to help for that fire? Because
So
I
it was
was
just-
just home like at 9 something and they were still coming.
Yeah, so we only respond regionally. So within Chaves County, I think the furthest one was Hagerman. Hagerman they sent 2 units, and Dexter sent 2 units, and then District 8, which is out by the prison, they sent 2 units. And then Brendo, which is up north, East Grand Plains, Midway, and Sierra, which is out west, just right here close. They all sent. I think we ended up with a total of 44 volunteers on scene that just was able to lend hands. And so those they don't get paid, and they were there out of the kindness of their heart in a moment's notice where we needed them, and I'm super grateful for that. So
Seen a lot of traffic out there.
yeah, no, there was a lot of traffic, and props to the PD. They did a great job of handling the traffic flow. People get they want to be looky-loos, and that's okay. I mean, you don't see something like that very often, but PD did a great job. Our partnership with Excel Energy, they did a great job, and the New Mexico Gas Company, they did a great job. And you take what we normally get as a normal residential structure fire, or even a small commercial fire, and you multiply that on a scale of 10. It takes a lot of extra hands, and so when we're talking, we normally get one power guy from Excel to come out, and you look out there and we have a dozen Excel trucks driving around, shutting down an entire block of power. That's old infrastructure, it's old military infrastructure. And so, the military set up the power poles way back in the day. And so what goes to what, no one knows. And they kill this, but there's still electricity over here. And they told us at one point the electricity was good, and yet we moved the gate and the whole gate. And so our battalion chief felt the electrical jolt go across his chest and was like, oh, that's still alive. And so yet alone, they still didn't get it all. And so with that being said, it's a big confusing mess, but our guys did such a great job in handling it. So.
Yeah.
And you said the mayor's recognizing everyone?
Yeah, the mayor, I wrote a letter, and gave it to the mayor, and then Amalia was involved, and they're going to get it signed, and we're going to at least give it to one representative, and then whether that's the head of the county fire board, or if he can't make it, maybe Bill Williams, and we'll see what we can do to just get that distributed and just do a public thing, because I think opportunities like this to really build on relationships are incredibly important, and they helped us out and they bailed us out. And I know if the shoe is on the other foot, we're 100% happy to go help them as well. And that thanks is always there. So we just want to publicly declare how thankful we are. So we'll be doing that tomorrow night.
And there was some misleading information. I was out there. Police officer said we're evacuating 3-mile radius. So me as a supervisor, I sent all my employees home. My boss got upset at me because I sent them home, but
yeah, there's
just one of those.
I think initially when you pull up on something like that, you don't know. So we're getting reports from our dispatch saying, hey, it's loaded with jet fuel. And so while we're not expecting an explosion, if we get a wind shift from the south, man, it could be detrimental, and especially toxic inhalation hazards and so forth. So initially, I believe it was the battalion chief that said, hey, we're going to consider this. Let's start this process, because when you pull that trigger, that process doesn't start immediately. It's like, oh yeah, oh, boom, everyone's going to leave their homes. No, it's a very long process to evacuate anybody. And luckily for us, the wind stayed in our favor, and it came out of the due west the entire time. And so there was portions of on the other side of the airfield there. There's a little county portion over there that, but enough heat allowed that smoke to rise and stay up and out of it. And so we were fortunate. And so we were able to stop the evacuation flow pretty quick into the incident. And I mean, as you can imagine, you've got everyone's trying to talk on the radio. And so we're trying to set up our incident command structure, and with doing so, trying to control radio traffic and priority traffic and so forth. And So some of that stuff, you make a note, hey, this was said, and you have to go back every 10, 20, 30 minutes and reevaluate what we're doing and is it effective. And so, yeah, once we got that done, I'm super thankful for the brand new water towers that the city put in because water was not an issue. The water system was strong and we had multiple trucks flowing thousands of gallons a minute out there and never once had an issue with water flow. And so that was super beneficial. If it would have been off of Garden or Pear Street, I'm not quite sure we would have been as lucky. We'd probably go to Cape some linemen, but the infrastructure out there supported it. And so we were super thankful for that. But all in all, the G Street fire was good. And that one goes down that one will go down the books for the members of the Raleigh Fire Department who were there because that one was a good one.
Good job. Thank you. Okay, did I miss anyone? You got everybody?
Madam Chair, any of the written reports that are not in the packet because we're a week early, I
Yeah.
know PD's packet is pretty long. We'll just make sure those are placed in your boxes
Okay.
as they come in.
I think I had the police in my box and then he handed me the fire. Okay, any public participation? No.
Everybody goes like that.
Check. Okay, I think we're good. I guess we can go ahead and adjourn. Thank you, everyone.
Any other public comment?
I think we're gonna.
Okay, we're going to talk.
Yeah.
Don't run off. Or we're going to put them out.
9:45 on.
Send me an email. I was gonna do another meeting, but he won't be here, so I'll go in.